Good morning. The word for you today. Today is Thursday, July 6th, and our devotional today is titled, Are You Praying for Your Children? Now, our devotional is pulled from 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 19, but we are going to be reading out of Deuteronomy chapter 6. 2 Kings is an amazing book, but I think that the theme of today's devotional is so much better found in what is called the Shema. It is the fundamental prayer of daily life. And it is what I want to make my ministry full on. For those of you that don't know, I want to do family and marriage ministry. And one of the things I want to do is help families learn how to teach and reach out scripturally to each other, to their children, and to their children's children. And so the central verse that has kind of made its way into my heart as I've gone through school is Deuteronomy 6, verses 4 through 9, which says, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, and with all of your soul, and with all of your excess. And these words that I have commanded you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Deuteronomy 6 is a beautiful verse, beautiful chapter. I highly recommend, if you haven't read it recently, to reread it. Go ahead and go now, pause the video. It's that good. It's so much better than anything I could say. The beauty of this chapter is that it is a familial chapter. What I mean by that is that there is so much in this that references the family of the Jewish people, the nature of Jewish daily life, which is centered around the temple, the house of God, and the home, the house of man. One of the beautiful things about Judaism is that Jewish theology says that parents are responsible for teaching their children the mitzvot, the divine commandments of God, until they reach the bar bat mitzvah. And at that point, they are considered adults, and they are to take control and responsibility of their own spiritual development. But in those early days, it is a parent's duty to be guides and protectors, to be joyful and teach the love of God, the love of the Holy One, and the community that they are to be a part of. And prayer is one of the most fundamental ways that we do that. Yes, we can teach our kids, and we can have Bible studies and read Bible stories, and you should. Absolutely. It is something that I highly recommend everybody do. But there is something to be said about even when your child is not here, even when your child is, at their dad's or at their mom's, if you're a split parent household, or they're with their grandparents, or even if your child's just asleep in the other room, to spend time praying for them, to spend time asking that the Lord will lead us in the way to best develop them. Family is an important thing, and all too often we have parents who mess up, and when they mess up, they don't admit it. They don't seek help. They don't try to reconcile that in any way, and so the parent-child bond becomes strained. And unfortunately for us, we're human and we're flawed. And while there is beauty in that, there's also a lot of potential for harm in that for parents, for children, parents are the example of what God is. Now, whether or not that's fair to parents is a different story altogether. But for children, their parent is God. in the sense of their parent is supposed to show the things that God does for them: love and protection, provision. The only thing that a parent can't do is deliver them from their sins, but if a parent could, they would. At least we hope so. And so, however you're interacting with your family, with your children, that is a reflection of what God does to them. That is, in that child's mind, that is you showing them this is the character of God. If you're overly harsh and judgmental, if you put your child down at every aspect, if you are constantly talking down to them, that's what God is to them. If you're loving them and supporting them and rebuking when they're wrong, but helping them grow, that's what God does. Parents have the unique responsibility of conveying God to our smallest, most vulnerable people. And one of the best ways that we can make sure that we are doing everything in our power to do that correctly, to do that biblically, to do that in a good and holy way, is to pray for them. Are you praying for your children? Are you praying for your family? Are you praying for your neighbors? Are you praying for the world? Are you praying? Have a nice day.